Well, for the first time in decades, the Blazers under new ownership. Welcome to Coin 6 News at 5. I'm Todd Unger.
And I'm Elizabeth Dinh. Thanks for joining us. A lot to tell you about. So just a couple hours ago, the man who also owns the Carolina Hurricanes hockey team, Tom Dundon, took questions about the $4 billion sale. We do have team coverage for you tonight. Tyree Smith with what the sale means for the team. Ken Body standing by with what comes next for Portland City leaders.
But let's begin with Joey Vaca. He was at the event today. Joey, did Dundon really tip his hand about the future of the team here in Portland?
Well, Todd, Liz, no firm promise that the team will stay here in Portland, and no pledge from the ownership group to put any of their money towards an arena renovation. As it stands, public dollars would fund a renovation project. The legislature passed a bill to partially fund it. The city of Portland and Multnomah County have said they want to chip in. For now, it does not look like that will change. And this is a direct quote. This is one of the first things Dundon said in his press conference when referring to the Moda Center. His building is pretty neat, right? I mean, you walk around it, it needs some work, but it's still something that we could be proud of and then improve upon. That was one of the first things he said, gave no indication that either he or the group would contribute any of their money towards this project. I asked how closely that he was following developments before he got here, because remember, he was only made official 2 days ago, and a lot of these funding conversations happened in recent months. The legislature, the city, the county. He said that's stuff that he doesn't really enjoy. Instead, other people on the business side of things with the team were following that closely, and he said if there's an opportunity for him to chip in, then he will. If there's work that needs to be done, then he will. He didn't rule out potentially developing the area around the arena. That is something that he did with his hockey team in North Carolina. As we know, there isn't much of an entertainment district around the Moda right now. So when asked about that, he didn't quite say that he would commit to it, but he also said that he would not rule it out. Somebody who was very vocal, though, was Sheil Tile. He is a part of the ownership group. He's now serving as alternate governor. Andrew Chung, the co-founder of Panda Express, also a part of this ownership group. He was also there today. Now, Tile's actually a Portland local. He said that his daughter was born at OHSU. He said that the city means a lot to him. And the name of this ownership group, Rip City Rising, he said that name was intentional because that he said Portland was a world-class city, and he believes that they can be a world-class city again, and that the Blazers can play a role in that. If we're talking about the arena, the indication is there's still a lot of work that needs to be done behind the scenes before deals are signed and shovels are put into the ground to renovate it. Todd, Liz.
Did he talk at all about attendance or efforts to try and get more fans through the door? Because anyone that's been to a game in the past few years knows there are a lot of empty seats.
Todd, experience was one of the things that he actually talked about the most, and he said as an owner, that's something that he cares about more than maybe others do. He said that he's committed to making sure that they can offer the best experience. Now, he even mentioned things as simple as coming in and out of the arena. He wants to make that great for the fans. How the food tastes, he wants to make that great for the fans. So every part of the experience, he said he's committed to improving, and he made it sound like they're going to get to work here pretty quickly.